So yesterday we discussed on the secondary objects, not second, a second type of characteristics, which is the triple characteristic of beginning, middle, and ending. As I said, this characteristic is also based on the first characteristic, that you begin to see objects like they are arising, middle, or ending. But not all the time it shows you this, all of this beginning, middle, and ending. Sometimes it shows you the beginning, sometimes it shows you the ending, sometimes it shows you the middle, sometimes it shows you all of them. Also, at the same time, the changes of beginning, middle, and ending, they also can be faster or slower. Sometimes from one object to another object, as if like the arising and passing, arising, middle, and ending, they go quite fast. So sometimes your mind can be quite busy following all these objects. Not if you don't have time even to label them. You just only can follow them, all these objects, as if sometimes they come in one go. So here you have to put all your doubts and all your book knowledge aside. Sometimes we may think of, we read that only the mind can take one object at one time. That's true for the books, but not at their level yet. The mind is so much more faster than what you think it is. So you can take up a few things as if like it's one go. It shows you in that way, you have to see it in that way. Later on, one may become more prominent, then you take that particular one. So in many ways, it's going to change. And this time, your mind is sharp, your mind is clear. You can sit for the whole hour without much of thinking, without much of sleepiness, because there are so many activities for you to notice inside this mind and body process. And they keep on changing, going from one object to another. So this time also, as I said, you have to trust your mindfulness, you have to trust your noting mind in order to show you whatever it wants to show you, even you have not seen it before, even it goes beyond your rationality or your thinking. So you have to put all your rationality, thinking, your judgment, everything aside, and just squarely pay attention to the object. And because the mind becomes powerful, as I said, the objects, you see them clearly. The mind also is powerful to notice these objects. And at times, these objects also, as I said, there are more subtle type of objects you begin to notice them. Things like, for example, all the pleasant feeling coming in, neutral feelings coming in, that normally you don't see them in the beginning of the practice. But this time it becomes prominent. It becomes a clear object for you to notice. So you have to take it up. You have to be careful with this type of objects. As yesterday I said that these objects, or this calmness, or this pleasant state of mind, or the lights, or the aura, or the brightness that you see, initially when you look at it, they are very pleasant objects. They are very pleasant state of mind. And the whole body feels good, not much of tiredness, not much of a lethargic feeling. You can sit as if like you can sit there for 2 or 3 hours and it's no problem at all. If the whole body feels good, then with this, the mind doesn't want to take note of all other objects. You just want to to stay with that brightness. You just want to stay with that tranquilness, calmness. Then we do this for again and again, because the craving, when it comes in, the craving starts. The craving, desire, you delight. You want to delight in it. So delight in it that you keep on repeating the same thing. Then the next thing is that you begin to have wrong thinking arises. You think about it, that whether this is enlightenment or this not enlightenment. And also not only this type of thinking arises, actually another type, which is our ego. The Pali word is mana. Mana here, it's like for this type of case, usually is the superiority type of ego. When you say this mana, or it's translate into English, is not a good translation. Sometimes people translate it as ego or conceit. It's a default state of mind. Whereas in the English, it gives you a one-sided point of view. Whereas in the Pali, in the Buddhist terms, it gives you three different levels. The ego here, usually, or the mana here, the conceit here, you have the superiority type of complex, you have the inferiority type of complex, you have that equality type of complex. Three different levels. The beginning, the superiority type of complex is like, you feel that you are better than other people. You feel that you are more beautiful than other people. You are richer than other people. You are healthier than other people. You begin to compare. This is the base of all kinds of racism, sexism, and so on. This is where the mana, when you have this superiority complex. The other one is the inferiority complex, whereas you see others are better than you, richer than you, more generous than you, more developed than you, whatever it is. You see them in that sense. The other one is to see them equal. Equal means that, for example, you have your own fair share, You get 1 vote, I also will get 1 vote. You get 2 votes, I also will get 2 votes. You get this more time, I also want to have more time. You cannot see that others have more than you and not equal to you. So, that too, in the sense that you base on one after the other, then, well, this is usually is a form of equality complex. We don't usually this problem, this thing. If it goes into more extreme, you're going to go into extreme. That is where the violence and everything coming in. But to live in a society, sometimes you need certain degree of equality in order to have everybody to be peaceful, in a way, But we don't realize that this is, again, it's a kind of a defilement too, a mental defilement, because there's always comparing with others. Anyway, we don't have to go too far, because we're going to go into so many areas. But what is in the area of meditation is that, say for example, you gain some degree of this peacefulness or calmness. Then after some time, you having that, and behind it the craving and delight is there. Then it comes with the wrong thinking that you believe that you become a better meditator compared to others. You believe that you think that you are, because of this these meditation experiences, you think that you are a better yogi than other people. Yeah? So much so that, for example, they can sit there for 3 hours. They get up, they feel that, I'm a wonderful meditator. I could sit for 3 hours. Others can sit for only 1 hour only. Uh, then you compare. Even in the spirituality itself, in the, trying to develop this noble practice, and yet our defilements, our ego, our conceit or mana, or craving and so on, it will slowly creep into our meditation process. What more when we are out there, right in the meditation itself. We try to purify the mind, and yet at the same time, this thing can sneak in. So we got to be careful. Yeah. Yesterday I mentioned a few things like yogis delight into it. For example, as I said, visions. Vision, a very clear vision of sometimes a spiritual object or spiritual visions, seeing monks, seeing pagodas, seeing places of worship, or seeing which you believe that is a very spiritual land, spiritual place, a heaven or devas or whatever it is. So you create it out, becomes so clear, so wonderful, and yet at the same time, it's give you a lot of joy and pleasantness sometimes. Then you delight in it. You delight into it again and again. Long enough, you begin to think that you are better yogi, you are wonderful yogi, you're such a great yogi because you think that you can see all these type of things. You think that you are very progressive in your meditation. Then with that thinking long enough, as I said, the yogi form into wrong views. They hold on to the wrong view, they believe that this is right. They don't realize that they are holding on to a wrong view based on their own so-called experiences. When that thing happens, you form into the wrong view. You think that perhaps with this, I'm already enlightened. I'm already having different levels of jhana, different development. In certain places that I know of, people, the yogis, they practice samatha meditation. They, they look down on yogis, or they look down on others who cannot have jhana and so on. And the higher you have the jhana, the more they put you on a pedestal, so to speak. The higher you go. And then the ego comes in. And a lot of time they thought that they have this jhana just because they go into calmness and peacefulness. So with that, they think that they have all these type of things. Then all these corruptions, all these mental corruptions come into the whole spiritual development. And it can be very unhealthy at times. One of the more common ones that normally yogis tend to attach to them is that like peacefulness, calmness, tranquilness, or blank. To you, you interpret it as emptiness. Oh, emptiness. Okay, we'll see. Sunyata. Yeah. All these things, you see, when we talk about peacefulness, a lot of you have the idea that when it comes into meditation, peacefulness or calmness is to meditate until everything disappears. Then very peaceful, calm, quiet, so nice. That is a lot of people's, a lot of yogis' intention, their own inner intention. Although they understand the teachings of the Buddha a little bit, but their own inner intention, they come into meditation, they want that total peace. At least you are, because they want that peace in order, they compare it to their everyday life, which is very, a lot of problems in life. So many things that you need to do, so busy, everything so much, and you want to come into retreat and find some degree of peace and calm and tranquil. Inside the heart, you wanted to go for that. So when you go into the meditation, you want to find that when you seek something that is calm and peaceful, automatically the mind will start to grip on it, because those ideas has been formed. Just the moment that you have that calm and peace, the mind, the craving starts immediately. And people delight in it. I've seen people get delight into all this calm, peace for 20 over years. Then only they realize that they are not going anywhere. Every time sit down, calm and peace only. Now, when you go, you see, when a person say calm or peace, or however they put it, each and every one of us may experience this calm, peace, tranquility differently. Differently. Your calm and peace and the other one calm and peace can be completely different. Although it's still, in a way, it's calm or peaceful or tranquil or blank or empty. Let's say, for example, you see, when you go into the mind, when you dissect the mind a little bit more, some yogis, when they say that they have a calm or peaceful nature, the mind is very calm or peaceful nature. Sometimes this calm and peaceful nature, the prominent aspect behind it can be what we call the concentration aspect, the samadhi or the ekagata, with the one-pointedness aspect of the mind. Concentration is different from mindfulness. Mindfulness is that the mind is heightenedly aware. Concentration here is like the mind can hold everything together, that is not get distracted into other things. It holds on to it so that it stays onto the object. And here, and it gets stronger, and it gets too strong, it gets too prominent. This concentration, when it takes over everything, it becomes the prominent aspect of the state of mind. What will you do is that time the mind is very, in a way, is calm. All your thinking and all your thoughts, even externally you have all kinds of sound, the mind just stay on the object, just stay there. But it's not noting the object, it's just stay on the object. It's just there on the object, kind of stick on the object, and it doesn't go into everything. It just stay there. Long enough, the whole mind become very calm, peaceful, and then it becomes just one-pointed only. But the mind is not noting, not doing anything. So that time, yogis will feel that this is very calm and peaceful for the yogi. So they use the word calm and peaceful to express what is going on inside there. Another type of yogi, another type of calm and peacefulness, it comes from the state of mind which we call tranquility. The Pali word is passaddhi. Passaddhi here, tranquility here is another wonderful state of mind. That state of mind is that when it arises and it becomes prominent, its job of this tranquility is to quiet down all your chattering of your mind, all kinds of chattering, all kinds of yesterday that I mentioned that you watch your rising and falling, right? And then here you got some chatter, some talking, yeah. But you still can notice this thing. But when tranquility becomes the prominent aspect, it shut down this chattering mind, completely shut down. It's shut down this chattering mind. It also shut down all your labeling also. You cannot even do labeling at that moment of time. The mind can just be aware of whatever that's going on, but in a very quiet mind. Isn't it nice? I mean, we got so much chatter, so much thinking, so much commentary, so much judgment, so much critical thinking, and so on. And here, everything quiet. And it's so nice, it's so pleasant. Yeah. So for a lot of people, when they experience this, they do not know how to handle it. They just bask in it, They're just inside there, so nice, so quiet. The whole mind, for the first time in my life, a quiet mind. So peaceful. So it's peaceful, it's calm. Because that is the tranquil state of mind. And that becomes a prominent aspect for it. And sometimes some yogis have the tendency to go into that state of mind. So to them, their peacefulness is that type of peacefulness. Another type of peacefulness is come with equanimity. Equanimity. Here the equanimity, it means that the mind is totally balanced. Nothing excessive, nothing nothing more and nothing less. The mind stays in the balance. Yeah? Which is good if you are mentally alert and noticing that equanimity is wonderful. But sometimes this equanimity becomes too much. Too much to the yogi until the mind is so flat that it doesn't want to do anything else. It's just kind of like become like indifferent, It's just happy, not happy. Sad, not sad. Pain, no pain. Anything, nothing. It's just... So to some yogis, peaceful. Because the mind doesn't go into excessive thinking nor anything. It's just there in the center. Peaceful. So, peace and calm is a very, very subjective to the yogis. Some yogis, again, as I said, when you meditate and the calmness or tranquility comes in or whatever, and become too much, everything become blank. Everything become blank. Just nothing. Blank. With that, you hold on to it, you crave for it, and the thought starts coming in. And a lot of times, people would think that this is emptiness. Sunyata, empty. Because nothing there. Empty ma. Emptiness. And we don't realize that this is not the emptiness. I mean, at least from my understanding, this is not the emptiness. The emptiness that's taught by the Buddha is an empty of a self. Not empty like empty bowl, empty cup, empty something. It's not empty in that sense. It's empty of a self. Because that is so difficult for us, a lot of people, to see that it's empty of a self. Other words, when the Buddha used the word emptiness, it can be has a lot of activity inside there, a lot of process inside there. But when you observe everything, They are just going on its own. For example, you don't regard it as mine. You don't regard it as myself. You don't regard it as I. And you see the whole thing as just a process only. That is what you see, emptiness of self, not empty in that sense. So the meaning of emptiness can be very different. Usually I try not to use the word emptiness too much because you see, you have to explain so much in order for you not to get caught into it. Yeah? So then don't get caught into it when the mind gets blank and you begin to interpret that these are all emptiness and so on. If you define that meaning to be empty as empty nothing there, then a lot of yogis get caught into it. Then you get a lot of wrong idea about the progress of the development of this vipassana or even samatha practice. Yeah? So this is one of the big thing over here. And as I said, many times yogis, they start off rightly, they start off practicing properly, but somehow in the middle there, they start to sway off different tangent, different pathway. They go on. And then they go into wrong types of belief, wrong type of thinking, wrong type of practice. So, this point also, at this area actually, you need competent teachers or competent guide or competent instructor to help you to bring you back to the path, to the proper practice. If you find a competent teacher, well, train with them, then go further. But sometimes if you find, if the teacher is also going in that way already, then if you, unfortunately, you go follow it, then you go that way. For example, they teach you how to meditate and then create lights, create all kinds of images and everything, and you get stuck into it. That will be a problem. Finally, we have to understand this state of mind. Their cravings, it doesn't care what you do. It's there waiting for you. You miss out, you don't have that real proper mindfulness, craving comes in. Immediately it comes in, then it starts to form into other forms of defilements. So this is something that we have to take note of. This is usually a very common, over time, I said common because I go around in the world seeing yogis, seeing people, and sometimes we know that these people get caught into it. And when you tell them, hey, you get caught into it, sometimes they don't believe you. They don't believe you because after all, it's so pleasant, it's so nice. Why should I get out of it? So this is something that we can relate to. I can understand at least. You see the defilements or the ego or the craving. You don't ever think that they are, just because we practice this meditation, don't think that they are totally not there at all. They can be just lurking around the corner only. They're just lurking around the corner. And when you are not careful, it will spring up and it get attached to it, and the ego also will come up with it. Let's say you meditate and you don't have all this calmness and all this brightness, and yes, but that day Bhante say, okay, note them, so I don't get attached to them. Wonderful, good. You don't attach to the calmness, you don't attach to the emptiness, you just note them. They know that they are there. If after a while you come back to your rising, falling, sitting, touching, as a sensation, you try to notice process again, well and good. You come back to the right track in the vipassana. You cannot handle them too much, put them aside, come back to the sensation. then you're on the right track. Yeah? You're on the right track in this way. But don't think that craving is just far away from you. They are just at the side there, just following you from the behind. The very thing that you use for meditation, like your mindfulness, your effort, your, the discerning mind, and so on, your concentration, your sharpness of your mind that able to penetrate all these things. The very thing that you use, if you're not careful, it can be a source of the craving to come in also. Yeah? The very thing that you need to use. Take for example, simple example. You walk, you do your walking meditation. Lifting, pushing, dropping, and you can do it very nicely. All the sensation you notice very well, very clear. You don't stumble. You don't like wobble the whole body. This walking is so beautiful. You like it very much, and then lifting, pushing, everything going very well. Then without realizing it, sometimes I heard of yogis that inside their mind, what they think, I can walk so well right now, so calm, so peaceful, so beautiful. If other yogis were to look at me, how I walk, you see how wonderful they could learn something from me, how I walk so well. What do you get? You get caught in your own conceit. Your very thing that you are clear about, the very thing that you're able to notice, can be the source of your own conceit to come in. You think that you can able to note this rising and falling better. Perhaps sometimes, I also met with like yogis. Finish the retreat, they go back, maybe sit down in a cafe. They talk about, what you experience in the meditation. Oh, I can note my rising, falling, and all that thing with a hinge of I know better than you. I can note this rising, falling this way, my pain this way. Oh, I'm a better yogi right now. Yeah, you see, the very thing that you use for meditation at your experience becomes a source of your own conceit. Or sometimes sometimes your energy, your wholesome right effort, it comes in as your mind is vibrant, alert, clear. And then that particular hour, you sit and there's no sleepiness and there's no drowsiness at all. You sit there so nice, so upright. Then you open up the eyes a little bit, you see other yogis, they are like that, half bent, then sleepy. Then you see, today my energy is so good. Others, you see, not so good. In so many ways, actually, yogis get attached to their own idea of progress. Yes, they actually can meditate, not to say they cannot meditate. I've seen also in the past that yogis in this type of vipassana meditation, just because they follow certain teachers, they think that their teacher is the best compared to other teachers. Yeah. Then that they think that their teacher is the best meditation teacher. If you follow other teacher, you are second grade or third grade, And they have the idea in that sense. Whatever it is, next time don't use my name, if you have that. I don't want you to get involved in your ego. There are people also, I've said, they thought that they are vipassana meditator. They thought that they can progress. And then after that, they see other Buddhist devotees. They are not meditation. They don't meditate. Then kind of like they look down on them, just because that they have more meditation practice. Uh, there are people like that. With the practice, it comes with that ego. It becomes a superiority complex that you think that you are better than others. So next time when you practice this, this meditation, make sure that you don't, even you practice here for 30 years or 40 years or 50 years, you think that you are better than others, you think that you are greater than others, then that will be the source of your own ego. So do be careful. When we learn this Dhamma, or when we do these services, or when we practice meditation, or we keep our morality, we uphold it upright. Don't let all this become your source of your conceit, and you begin to look down on others just because their morality is not so good, just because they are not generous enough, not just because they don't give enough service. Those just because they don't go for retreats or don't do meditation like what you do. So that become, then if you're able to hold back on your ego, you check your ego, that will be good for you in the long run. I've seen also with this type of meditation they practice, they thought that they have so-called progress. Then they feel that they don't need anybody to help them anymore. They don't need any more teachers to help them anymore. No, they feel that they are good enough to carry on their practice on their own. No, as long as you are not enlightened yet, as long as you are not eradicate some of the defilements, you are still have difficulty. You still need a teacher or two to guide you through everything. Or you need some instructor, or you need somebody to help you, because we don't realize that of the examples that I've mentioned, the craving can be lurking around the corner. So as much of this practice is noble, is wonderful, it purifies the mind. But if you are not careful, this type of this type of defilements can come in. You see, a lot of people become monks or nuns. They give up on wealth, give up on family, give up on everything, then become monks or nuns to live a more simple life, right? They don't compare themselves with how much money you have anymore, because all of them are broke. All of them don't have anything much. So there's nothing for them to compare much. So the only thing that they can compare is their all this type of development, morality, their meditation, their services, those things they begin to compare. So the craving or the defilements does not let you go just because you give up on worldly life. So even if you come into a meditative life, or you come into a spiritual life, that also you have to keep in check also all our ego. I've seen yogis meditate for just some time, some degree of progress, yes. Then the moment they can give a retreat or give talks, and they can sit on the Dhamma chair already, oh, the ego is like balloon up. And they balloon up, I say, you are just here to share the Dhamma with whoever wants to listen, then share with them. When you get so puffed up with your own ego, and you think that you are better than others, and everybody have to kowtow to you, and then with all kinds of, this is a really, sometimes we don't realize that the ego becomes so much. So next time when you finish this retreat, you make sure that you reflect on your own. Make sure that don't let the ego go too much on it, and then until you don't want to meditate anymore, or you think that you are better than others. So so make sure we learn to come back to be grounded. and to keep on meditating and keep on going. Now, as I said, the earlier part, the second characteristic of triple characteristic. Although the mind is powerful right now, all you need to do is make sure you keep on noticing the characteristic of how it comes, how it stays, or how it goes, or how it changes from one to another. How fast and whatever is happening, just keep noticing. If you maintain noticing these things, then you're on the right track. If you happen to notice calmness, peacefulness, and there's nothing changing inside there, don't stay there. Come back to something that is changing, something that's activity for you to notice. With that, you come back to the path of vipassana, so that you don't let the mind get corrupted. Now you keep on meditating, you keep on noticing. This is where a deeper aspect of development starts come in, where the third characteristic of an object, the third characteristic that I mentioned it as the universal characteristic of an object. Universal characteristic because it exhibits arising and passing away, moment after moment. And many times that when you go into Vipassana retreat, in later on perhaps, you're going to hear the teachers use the word arising and passing away. Udaya Baya, Udaya Baya. Arising, passing away, arising, passing away. And arising and passing away, again, they use like momentary arising and passing away. Momentary or moment to moment arising and passing away. Moment to moment of arising and passing away, that means, here it means the moment it arises, the moment it disappears. And then it arises, disappear, arise, disappear in a very fast manner. Okay, in a very fast manner. So fast that you begin to see objects. In every object or every sensation that you notice, every mental states that you notice, every pain that you notice, or every rising, falling that you notice, every touching, every anything that you notice, anything is just arising and passing away, as if like they are very fast vibration. Everything, no matter how you put in the whole body, as if like your body is so much of this arising and passing away, moment after moment. You notice this thing, so much happening that at that time you don't even realize that what you are noting. Is it a mental aspect or is it a physical aspect? During that time, it does not matter anymore. Because everything looks the same, the rising and passing away, universal after all, universal characteristic. When you see this arising and passing away, it's good because it comes to quite a significant level of development. And here at this juncture, the arising and passing away, you see it most of the time, it exhibits most of the time. In a way, the continuity of that mindfulness is very powerful. It's good, whether it's in the walking or usually in the sitting, usually yogis will see more. Walking, sometimes you may able to notice that also. Daily activities, not so much. You more or less, daily activities, you're aware of your touch, your warm, your cold. It's more like a first type of characteristic. But when you sit down, the third type of characteristic becomes quite prominent. So the arising and passing away, you see it moment after moment. And then, with this arising and passing away, it gives you the right perception of what we call the deep anicca. The proper use the term of anicca as impermanence. We use this word anicca, we use this word impermanence, usually in a more casual manner. Anything that is changing, we use the word anicca. Weather changing, anicca. Things are changing here and there. It comes, it goes. We use the word anicca, impermanent. in a casual manner, when we use that one, is perfectly fine. But this is not all you must know that this is not all the impermanent is there. The real impermanent is that you begin to see deep inside, and you see this arising and passing away moment after moment. Without thinking. It doesn't tell you that this is anicca. It just experience it as arising and passing away. But what is good over here is that when you observe this thing as arising and passing away, the front, you notice it as arising and passing away. But what behind it does is that it clears away the wrong perception of anicca, the wrong perception of permanency. Yeah, the wrong perception of permanency. Because right now, the wisdom shows us that everything that you pay attention to in this mind and body is just arising and passing away. There's nothing, something is stagnant or calm or anything that is just nothing or just permanent. Everything that you notice, every sensation, every aggregates or every mind, every body, everything that you notice is just arising and passing away. That time, the idea, the forming of the thing about permanency disappear. And whether we realize or not, a lot of us, not a lot of us, all of us, we are born or we carry this idea of permanency from life after life. Life after life, whether you are in the Deva world, whether you are in the animal or whether in the human or whichever rebirth that you take, you carry that idea of permanency. And we delight in an idea of permanency or the idea of permanency because it's kind of delightful. You're kind of like immortal. You're not able to die. Or sometimes people tell you certain idea of permanency is there. You immediately you kind of like want to grab hold of it. Like, for example, in religion, sometimes they tell you you die, you're reborn in the heaven, you're born in the hell, and that heaven, that hell, it's permanent. Completely unchanging, permanent. You are going to be there, permanent. Hell, permanent. Even in the sometimes in the idea within the Buddhist text also, within the Buddhist devotees also, they have an idea that something that is permanent, a land permanent, everything that is permanent, and it's so easy for us to subscribe into it. Or even like the soul is completely permanent. How do we travel from one life to another life? There must be some kind of, they say that there must be some kind of energy that is permanent, transfer it one after another. And that, again, is a wrong idea, a wrong view and wrong belief. Because when you look into the mind and body, everything else is all just arising and passing away. And nothing for you to able to hold on to. So you begin to clear behind the idea of permanency. You become clear the idea of permanency, to begin to see this arising and passing away moment after moment. And it's a significant aspect of your development actually. It's quite a significant aspect. Even you are not enlightened yet, but right now it's purifying what is behind there. What you see is just arising and passing away. Yes, this is what you see. But what is behind, it's doing a lot of changing happening there. The cause of your cycle of birth and rebirth is start changing because you begin to see the actual truth. So it's quite a significant aspect of our development, and it's already here in this mind and body. So all you need to do is keep on noticing and keep on practicing. until you begin to see the different types of arising and passing away. This time, sometimes it gives you the destruction, the ending of an object. Ending, you see the ending, and yet you see the arising and passing away at the ending. Things are going into like dissolution, into destruction, into disappearing. The things are like as if like the whole object is collapsing. You know, for some people when they experience those things. So when you notice all this, you notice another aspect of impermanence. You notice another aspect of anicca. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that's happening within this mind and body. It needs that more and more practice, more and more mindfulness, more and more distinguishing of mind to open up all these things. That's why there are yogis who stay in the meditation center for 1 year just to meditate. How long you stay here? And yet you're already counting your days. People stay there for 1 year, stay there for 2 years. What they do every day? Walk and sit, and sleep and eat. Walk, sleep, eat. And that's the whole year they do. Nothing else. Just to find the truth. Just to look for the truth. They have given up everything. And the time is just, they want to see the truth. What is truly happening within this mind and body. So you keep on going. They keep going. Although right now, I mentioned the progress a little bit more, but the thing is that it may take you sometimes quite long, if you have that long to practice, you know. You still have the time to practice. So, impermanence. This arising and passing away, you see its characteristic, you see also the deep impermanence, and at the same time, you remove the wrong idea or the wrong perception of permanency. Then it goes further. As you go further, again here arising and passing away, moment after moment. This time when you see this development of this progress, this is where the deeper aspect of dukkha, suffering aspect, I wouldn't say yes, it's suffering, but it's much more what you think than when we use the word dukkha. It's as if like it's your buttock pain, or your knee pain, or your numbness, or your sickness. Although those things are dukkha, but there are also other aspects of dukkha which is not painful. And they use the word dukkha, or unsatisfactoriness, if you use the word English. Dukkha, in a Pali word, the dukkha has a big aspect. Pleasant object, neutral object, painful object, all falls under dukkha. Whereas for us, our understanding sometimes, only painful things are dukkha. The rest not dukkha. Happy. You know, happy. But for the understanding of Four Noble Truths, actually, the dukkha aspect covers pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. Now, there are dukkha that is not connected to unpleasant, like your painful feeling here and there when you sit. Here, when you see the another aspect of dukkha, is the dukkha that is due to change, they call it. Due to change. For example, you notice that the rising and falling. And you notice this rising and falling initially when you start meditating. Do you feel like you're rising and falling any dukkha? You don't really feel it. It's just phenomena that you could get it. You are happy, in fact. You don't see it as something as dukkha. You don't see it as something as unsatisfactory. It's just an object that you use and you develop. to gain more mindfulness and more sharpness of the mind. But when you go deeper than that, even this rising and falling that you think of it as something is neutral, something nothing much. But then when you see this arising and passing away connected with this rising and falling, let's say it's around here, and you see a lot of this arising and passing away here. And the more that you see it, you feel that it's very like unpleasant, unsatisfactory. As if like in the past now, for example, as I said, you pay attention to your rising and falling. You hold on to rising and falling, you take note of this rising and falling. But whereas when you go to the deeper aspect, when you note this arising and passing away, sometimes you may feel that this rising and falling is not something for you to grab on anymore. Like you try to hold on to it and you keep falling away. As if like it's there, but it's not something that you used to be, you used to have a comfort zone on it, that you can hold on to it, you can notice it, you can develop. Now everything is keep on going to destruction, going into arising and passing away. The things that you normally hope or you expect to give you that mindfulness, but this time also is already like breaking away. So sometimes some degree of mental non-stability arises. Mental, like as if like a mental fear arises, a mental danger that arises inside the mind. You could still notice a lot of things, but now the mind is noticing it a bit difficult, not as usually as pleasant as pleasant. Then how could that be? You right now you feel any unsatisfactoriness? No, we don't see that because the concentration, the mindfulness is not that deep. You wait till that time, you sit down, even the rising and falling that you used to be happy with, now you feel really unsatisfied with it. Even like other sensation, as you develop further, this type of dukkha, it comes in as like you keep on seeing this destruction again and again, keep arising and passing away again and again. And again and again until you get so fed up with your meditation. You get so, like you have to eat the same thing every day and nothing else to eat. You know that after the 5th day, the 6th day, you get so that you can't even want to swallow anymore. That is kind of like the same feeling like that. You watch it, all this arising and passing away, and you could still watch. Not that you cannot watch, but the feeling is so unsatisfactory, so difficult. So the English word sometimes they use disenchanted. Disenchanted. More like disgust. Yeah. You're totally disgusted with the whole thing, and yet you are still observing. While you are observing this thing, we may think that our meditation is going haywire again. Because before that, meditation was going smoothly. Everything was going well, and there's calmness, and everything can notice smoothly, and so on. And right now, meditation is going into haywire, is going to entanglement, is going to a lot of suffering, a lot of difficulty is going on. You don't understand why is it that going on in this way. You don't even understand why you cannot sit 1 hour also. Because before that you could sit 1 hour. This time, all this unsatisfactoriness can come in, not because of the pain, just because you note your objects in that way. Sitting 1 hour also a struggle. So the dukkha aspect is coming in. It begins to show you that all this arising and passing away, inherently, they are also dukkha. Just like the Buddha mentioned, everything, all these 5 aggregates are dukkha. Now you are actually seeing it. You're actually observing it, dukkha, in the many patterns, many formation. You have to take it, and you've got to stay with it. And it could be quite some time for you to overcome. No, not overcome. It'll be quite some time before you pass through. As if like you're going through a very thick forest and everything, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's just so much dukkha there. And why is that so? This process of this dukkha is seen. Again here, the front, what you see is all this unpleasant, unsatisfactoriness, nature of the body and mind. But behind it, again it does another thing. It clears. It clears the opposite of dukkha. And what is it? It clears the sukha, the pleasantness, or the blissfulness, the idea of bliss. You see, the idea of bliss is that human beings is always seeking for the pleasantness, blissful feelings, nice feeling, happiness, and so on. This is beings in the cycle of birth and rebirth. You will keep on keep on seeking for this thing. And sometimes the very thing that they seek for happiness, it gives them so much suffering. They enjoy without thinking of the consequences. Then they suffer in terms of karmic consequences. So they keep on going in this cycle of birth and rebirth. So here, when we see this type of dukkha, the mind that comes with mindfulness, that comes with wisdom, at this time, it begins to see the truth that phenomena of this mind and body process consists of all kinds of dukkha. And when it consists of all kinds of dukkha, the mind does not want to hold on to it, does not want to crave onto it. So at the background also, it clears the idea of sukha away. It clears the idea of bliss, clear idea of permanent happiness, and so on. At least, at least for a period of time. You see, this idea, this concept of permanency and happiness. These two ideas are very powerful ideas. And if you can sell these two ideas to beings, people will take it. You can sell, if you can create this idea of permanency and everlasting happiness. These two enough. You become a god. You become a messiah. Or you want to be, you want to be the fake one or whatever it is. You just sell these two. People will take it, because most people will desire for these two. Impermanency, permanent happiness. I mean, if you give you permanent happiness, why want to go and seek for all kinds of everything? Just give them these two. So when we hear about these two, anything that is these two permanent happiness, it sounds so good. But when you go into the seeing the truth, as the ignorance begins to break, and you begin to see the truth, then we realize that we are, at one time or another, we are so hooked onto these two ideas. It happens in the Buddhist context also. It happens in non-religious context also. It doesn't matter whether you are religious or not religious. It does not matter. It only matters that it has this, especially on these two. So now, with this a little bit of understanding, it will be good that every now and then when you learn something, Dhamma and so on, you just check and see whether is there a permanent happiness there, or a permanent happiness inside this concept that you are learning. If you have that concept, you got to be careful. This is this one to you, because for me, we keep on seeing into all this phenomena of mind and body process. It's all created by the mind. It's all conceptually created by the mind. But when we see the truth, there's nothing there except this arising and passing away that consists of this impermanent, consists of this dukkha. Tomorrow, we'll continue on this a little bit more. Tomorrow, yeah. Okay. So we stop here for tonight.